Hello and welcome to the bonus topic of Around the Lens, episode 33, featuring panelist Aaron Rosenblatt. Aaron, we have got some fun stuff to talk about. My favorite topic and yours, street photography. Just going around streets, taking pictures of strangers, doing strange things, and always, there's photographers who've made their entire careers off of this. But some people question the legality of street photography. Do we have the right to shoot people, publish their photos? What are the rights there? So what is your take on this? Obviously as a photojournalist, and I was this, as well, you're out there, sometimes there's nothing to cover and you're going out and doing some feature hunting and you just find interesting people doing interesting things and you take their photograph. And, obviously after you take their photograph, you're going to try and get their name for the caption and stuff like that. But, you got to photograph strangers sometimes without asking their permission. It's just the nature of the beast. So what do you think of this aspect of your job? And then have you ever been approached on the legality of street photography? And what do you think of this article that talks about it?
All right. So first of all, the on the job. I've gone out a zillion times and taken pictures of random strangers and whatnot. Sometimes I felt the situation was best where I would approach first and say, this is who I am. This is, I work for this newspaper, the Daily Republic. My name is Aaron Rosenblatt. It's a slow news day. Is it all right if I take a picture? And they say yes. Other times I end up taking the picture first and then I go up to them and say, hey, is it cool I took your picture? If not, that's fine. And usually they end up, you give them a nice big smile and be really friendly to them, and they'll give you your name. I remember when I was in school, the quote was, the saying was, shoot first, ask questions later. Because, once they say no, there's nothing you can do. But, if you have the picture first, at least it has a chance to get published or whatever. But at the same time, this goes along with the article that, you said related to this on the legality of street photography, where they talk about, treating the people you photograph as humans and being human with them and treating them as a person. And that's pretty important. That's the main thing. If you do that, anything, it makes your life a lot easier than, well, being a dick, being an asshole. So absolutely, it's a, sometimes I'm amazed that they say yes, and that I've convinced them, or that they just want to be published that badly or whatever. But overall, I would say the majority of the time, it's hasn't been an issue. Now, with my paper, granted, it's easier when I show them the press pass. At least that, gives a little bit of, ease to it. I'm not just a random guy.
Gives you a little bit of credibility.
I've actually at least gone to the effort, at the very least, of making a fake, it's a real press pass, not a fake one. But yeah, it gives a little bit of credibility. It makes it a little bit easier. But, if they ask for, I always make sure I have business cards with me. So if they ask for my business card, I give it to them. Once or twice I've, given, the name of my editor if they have a problem or whatever. I mean, there have been some interesting things that have happened that I've seen with the other photographer at our paper, where once, someone called, we got an email. It was a few days later saying, why was my son in the paper? And my editor, responded with an email saying why a photographer was there in this situation and why they took a picture. It may not have seemed necessary, but that's why it happened. There was actually this past weekend, it was, what do you call it, Pokemon Go or whatever, with assignment on.
Not familiar with that game.
Yeah, no. But our other photographer took a picture of the kid, and our photographer actually left for the day, and I was still in the office, and I got a phone call from the dad saying that it was he did not want the name that the mother published. or gave,
Oh.
and they just went through a divorce, he said,
Oh.
and all that. So I left that to the editor, and he said, and I probably would have made the same decision, which is let's not deal with their little divorce legal issue. It's not worth it over a name when we have other pictures that are suitable to run. In those situations.
So you went with another photograph instead of just using the photograph without
Oh,
name,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, we went with another photograph. And that is a really good defense to have, and it makes it, because, when you go out, and ask you to take a picture, there's times where people are going to say, no, don't take my picture. And, that's okay. Don't, it's, right now I'm even working on a story and for some, I'm trying to make the contacts for the story, and the guy is giving me a runaround. And I'd still love to do the story on the guy, but I'm still looking for other options, that another person who I feel would be more game to have their photos taken and have it be published, just to make my life easier, And if that's what it is, if that'll make your life easier, then it makes everyone's life easier. You don't need to fight every battle out there, just because it's not worth it in that sense.
I mean, you just got to respect people. Even if you're going to shoot them on the street, which you're more than welcome to do, just respect them. I mean, don't be, like this article says, a dick and flash somebody unexpectedly with your camera lens just to try and get a reaction or try and get that moment, or like another thing here where you're shooting somebody like 40 photos in a row through a coffee shop window, trying to get them to get pissed off, and stuff like that, just or another instance where shooting somebody and just running off even though you've been noticed. Engage with people. Whenever I shot people out in public and I thought it was a great shot, I would usually go up to them after the fact and be like, hey, I'm a photojournalist, they're freelance or working for somebody, and this is what I do, and introduce myself, let them know, like, hey, you can get my imagery if you go to my website or you send me an email. I'm always willing to share the imagery, at least for the subjects. I think that's the least you can do. If people are obviously you want to make that connection with them.
If it's on my own, absolutely. Fortunately, at our newspaper, usually we're not able to, although we do give them the option to purchase the pictures that have been published. But there's and that's an unfortunate rule. I don't agree with it.
Yeah. How many times are you at an event and like somebody's like, hey, can I get a copy of that picture? How many times you gotta be like, well, no.
Absolutely. And honestly, that's the worst part of the job, is to tell them, actually, no, but usually I just let my editor give them the bad news, because I feel that's their job and what they get paid for. Whereas me, I could just say, hey, let me check with my editor.
Yeah, because I mean, even if you publish, even if you shoot their photo, no guarantee they're going to be published, and if they're not published, they can't even buy it. So,
absolutely, and it's and actually in the article it was, it's a lot of that is the same thing. Yes, treating them like people, treating the people you photograph. But you were talking about, if you're pissing someone off and taking their picture, then I feel like you're putting yourself in as a journalist into the situation, and you're affecting them.
Yeah, if people are reacting to you and you take that photograph, even if it's a great reaction, they're still reacting to you. Like I taught when I was one of my younger photographer friends, and they had a great shot of a kid who's smiling and laughy and stuff like that. And I asked, are they reacting to you or are they reacting to something behind you? And they're like, oh, they're reacting to me. Like, that's not ethical. That's you interfering with the subject. You're creating the image. It's just as unethical as staging, in a sense. I mean, you can probably get away with it in certain aspects, but for the most part, you want to be as transparent as possible when you're out there shooting.
Absolutely, yeah. You want to be a fly in the wall, as they say. If it were up to me, I would dress to match the walls of the background of wherever I was shooting. Maybe one day they'll have clothing technology for that. And as anything that could help you out to, make you seem as discreet as possible. Is definitely.
I like that idea. You and me, buddy. Let's get together. Let's make camouflage clothing. Let's make that thing. Tell you, we'll make billions.
It'll be based on the green screen technology and everything. I mean, if they could do that, yeah, absolutely. Like, why this has? I'm actually disappointed we haven't come up with this idea yet until now.
Well, we got a patent pending right now.
Exactly.
Don't steal our idea. Right.
Yeah, and then with the article, the only thing I disagreed with was the idea of making your subject look good, actually.
Okay, yeah.
I did not agree. I feel like it's, we're not there to make them look good. We're there to tell the truth of what is happening. And to be honest, the truth is not always looking good. Sometimes if it's ugly, it's ugly. If it's bad, it's bad. It's the nature of it.
It is. It is.
But then we're also talking about the legality, right, of street photography. The last I remember, I'll show you the link to it, is there was a 2006 New York Times article? Yeah, St. Patrick's Day 2006, where it was street photography, a right or invasion. And it was about a legal case that the courts dismissed, where it was an Orthodox Jewish person suing the photographer for street photography from a tripwire. And this was in public. And when we're talking street photography, we're talking about on public spaces, right?
Right.
And again, that goes with the line of, if you're allowed to photograph anywhere in public, if you're allowed to photograph a high-rise building, then you could photograph people. And but I don't know if it got published in a newspaper, but it was in an art gallery. An Orthodox Jewish person's image, and the person being photographed, the Orthodox religious person, is claiming it was against his religion to be photographed. And the judge sided with the photographer.
Right.
So I feel like that's almost as an extreme example as you can get in a public space. And if the courts are still siding with the photographer, then, I think just about anything else would be fair game, right?
Right. Yeah. You can't use religious the tendency or religion to bypass, laws like that everybody has to live by. We're not in, one of these countries that restricts everything based on religion. Thank goodness.
No, absolutely not. No. So until then, yeah, if you want to go out and photograph in the street, I guess you have my permission to do whatever you want with it. Yeah, absolutely. But also, it's just another note on this is like, I feel like maybe this will be less of a problem in the future, because it's like everyone is taking cell phone pictures now in the street of everything.
Yeah, it's just us professionals who are targeted because we have these giant cameras we're wearing around our neck.
Absolutely.
We're the ones sticking out. Like it was mentioned, I think last week's show, the photographer was pushed to the side because the police pushed him across the street, but you had people, where civilians were walking right across the street, right next to whatever that he could photograph, and they could have easily taken out their cell phones and stuff like that and documented. But I don't know. It's a weird time we're living in. Everything's changing. But anyways, this has been our bonus topic. Thank you, Aaron, again for coming on. Appreciate your time, and hope to have you on in a future show. But anyways, again, thank you for supporting the show, everybody who pays for this. And if you're watching this, please share it with a friend. Thank you.